Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2011, Hell. Without any further, let's get started. The film opens with a woman lying in dirt in the woods. She wakes up and frantically walks over to a car that has been overturned. A man named Alex is lying hurt inside. The woman begs him to get up, and when he does, he tells her to get out. He also tells her that it's a trap, and she flees. A shadowy figure in a mask follows her, and he throws a net over her, bringing her to the ground. The scene abruptly shifts to three persons seated in a car, with a male in the driver's seat and two women inside. Before getting out of the car, he puts on goggles and instructs the woman in the passenger seat to button his shirt. The outside world appears to be dangerous. As the man exits the car, we get a glimpse of a desert empty land. It's too early to determine how much of it is, but a large highway signpost to the left seems to suggest that they are on an abandoned highway. The man Philip goes to the car's trunk to retrieve a can of gasoline, fills it up, sits back, and assures his girlfriend and her sister that it will last them a further 80 kilometers. Lenny, a young girl, shows uncertainty about their destination, but Philip tries to soothe her by claiming to have seen a bird outside that was flying in the same direction as they were driving, and that birds are able to locate water. After that, they stop at a deserted petrol station, seemingly looking for any goods that could help them survive. After discovering a manhole, Philip reaches inside to retrieve some fuel. When Marie, his girlfriend, and Lenny examine the wrecked store, they discover what appears to be a candy bar inside a locker. As she tries to show it to Lenny, she sees a man through the glass looking into and stealing from the trunk of their car. She calls her boyfriend's name, and as she does, the robber flees and Philip chases after him. As he and Marie approach the car, Philip remarks that maybe a week's worth of goods were taken. When Marie rushes inside to see how her younger sister is doing, she discovers that a man is holding her by the neck with a knife. It's possible that this is the thief, but it's not yet clear. As she calls her boyfriend's name and puts down her weapon, Philip enters from behind and hits him through the glass with a hammer, but this does not knock him down. Consequently, they fight. After Philip holds him to the ground, the man eventually claims to have gas to give and they start bargaining. After a little while, Philip invites him to join them. As they ride together, Tom offers Lenny her watch, which he says she misplaced. They quickly press the brakes because a large metal object was in their way. They tried to move the object with the car by tying a rope around it. While the other three provide some more manpower, Lenny drives. They manage to move it to a satisfactory degree before discovering a turned-over car downhill. After Philip says there might be food and gas inside, the two men go for it. The two women remain in the car, while Philip and Tom fill up their gas tanks. After radioing Marie, Philip instructs Lenny to fetch them an empty canister, which Marie ultimately delivers to him. Although Lenny remains in the vehicle by herself, she radios the others from the car to let them know that someone is standing next to the car. A short while later, the window is smashed. Lenny screams aloud. The others rushes to her aid, and Marie stumbles, falls, and rolls downhill till her back strikes a tree. The amount of time that passes after that is unknown. But Marie eventually recovers, gets back up, and starts to walk uphill. She notices two people strolling where their car used to be parked but is now gone. While she is watching, Tom grabs her unexpectedly from behind and tells her to keep silent. She asks Tom where the others are. As they leave, he informs her that the criminals took Lenny with them before they could reach her. She then runs into Philip again, and their radio goes off, but all they hear is static. They subsequently discover a bonfire in the woods, where some individuals appear to be gathering others who are bound and restrained. Then, the wrongdoers spot and pursue an unidentified person who is seen fleeing uphill somewhere. In the meantime, Tom comes up with the idea to make a Molotov cocktail and shares his idea with the other two. After a little while, Marie dashes to their parked car and climbs in. While she is inside, one of her friends tosses the Molotov cocktail, diverting the group of thieves. Marie attempts to hotwire the car during this time, and Philip enters when she starts it and tells her to go. They leave without Tom, and Philip hurts his leg in the process. Although they are far from the kidnappers, Philip informs Marie that they cannot save Lenny. Marie appears to be shocked by this. She leaves Philip and picks up a golf club that was on the ground. She then searches for her sister along train tracks until Philip, who is now disabled, comes up to her. He tells her that they must stick together, and she asks him to help her locate Lenny. As they travel through a tunnel on the train lines, Philip locates and grabs a bicycle, but he instantly trips and falls because walking is too difficult. After Marie assists him in taking off his shoe and it is seen that his foot is seriously wounded, he informs her that she will have to carry out the search alone. Now without him, Marie strolls in the blazing sun, covering her face as she goes, until she comes across a building and enters. In the church-like interior, 1 minute could barely go by before she collapses on the ground and almost passes out. She is shocked when someone else approaches her and tries to reclaim her. It's an elderly woman who assures her that she won't harm her. When Marie informs her about her predicament, the woman responds that the criminals visit every few weeks to kidnap individuals. They then leave the church, and the elder woman Elizabeth then guides Marie to her farm. As they enter a house, a few people are seen seated at a table. After escorting Marie upstairs, Elizabeth instructs her to sleep in a bed. However, before she does so, Marie tells Elizabeth about Philip and his disability. She provides her with his address, and Elizabeth reassures her that her son will assist in bringing Philip inside. With the radio in hand, Marie awakens and gets up to peek outside through a small opening in the wood-covered windows. She spots a number of people who appear to be possible thieves. After Philip is brought inside by 2 men and taken to a different house, Marie tries to exit through the door, but is shocked to discover that it is locked. In a matter of seconds, Elizabeth enters, and Marie watches as a man takes her sister Lenny someplace. When she calls out to her, Lenny hears, but she doesn't understand the source. Elizabeth then assures Marie that neither she nor her younger sister will suffer any harm, and that they will simply marry the men on the farm. Her boyfriend Philip, on the other hand, has a more grim destiny ahead of him. He is meant to be used as food. Elizabeth then exits the room to bring Lenny and to see her sister again. After she takes the golf club away from her and saying to Marie that she will like her youngest son, she exits the room. When Marie and Lenny are by themselves, they strip off some of their clothes and tie them together so they can climb out the window and escape. But before they can do so, Elizabeth's son enters and informs Marie that his mother told him she had a gift from God since she had spotted Marie in a church. Then, terrified that he could see the fabric rope, he approaches her. Marie grabs him and begins kissing him. She instructs him to shut the door, and when he locks it, she removes a wooden plank covering the window and strikes him on the arm with it. The nails on the board pierce his flesh, yet this does not knock him down. As he pushes her to the ground and starts pressing her head into the floor, Marie tries to free herself. Lenny then comes up and smashes a cup over his head, which knocks him down. They then remove more wooden planks from the window, and Lenny is the first to climb down the road. However, as she is doing so, the clothes begin to come undone halfway through, and Lenny falls with half of them. Marie orders her to flee and hide in the forest. After Marie puts on the dress Elizabeth provided her, she heads downstairs. Elizabeth enters the room next to the door and compliments Marie on her appearance. Marie also lies about the situation upstairs. She then gets introduced to Elizabeth's family and is sat down to eat dinner with them. After repeatedly stating that her son is still missing, Marie is shown sitting at the table, unable to eat the meal that is provided for her. She then throws her dish across the table, gets up, and flees, but the son blocks her way. She was then seized by the others, and one of them struck her, briefly losing her consciousness. Then, while fully restrained, Marie awakens in a slaughterhouse. She sees Philip in the next room, who also sees her, before someone approaches him and murders him. Marie is startled as his body hits the ground. So she locates a knife and carefully cuts the zip ties that are binding her hands from behind. After completing all of her bonds, she prepares to leave through the window, changes outside, and enters the barn. While there, equips herself with an axe and uses it to shatter a door's lock. When she enters the room, she finds that Tom is one of several hostages being held. They all rush outside and look for a way out. Using all of their combined strength, they break the wooden barn wall, and the captives flee for their lives, albeit some are caught in the nets right away. Then, Marie is flung to the ground and is about to be hit by a pickaxe, but Tom saves her, and she saves Tom again. Marie then flees into the woods and witnesses her sister Lenny being kidnapped again by two kidnappers, one of whom is Elizabeth. Elizabeth approaches Marie and begins to tell her that although Marie is useless, Lenny will be useful to them. Elizabeth is then stabbed by Marie with a knife, falling to her death as her son rushes up to her and mourns hugs her. Marie then walks to aid her sister, and the two of them flee. In the last scene, Marie and Tom gather water by soaking their towels on damp pebbles, and then pouring the water into bottles. When Lenny spots a bird flying outside on the rocks, she gets up and follows it, revealing their next location. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.